Hello and happy Thursday. My name is Matthew, and today I am reviewing a highly recommended book by the owner of a fantastic mustache, Christopher Vogler, and that book is The Writer's Journey, based, of course, on A Hero with a Thousand Faces by Joseph Campbell, but that's a book for another time. Today we're just going to focus on The Writer's Journey. Now, this book outlines storytelling structure that can be found in most successful movies, ranging from Godfather to Spider-Man Homecoming. You've probably seen it many times in movies that you love, and you just haven't figured it out yet. Now, this book does reference several movies to make points, so you will have to have seen Star Wars: A New Hope or Wizard of Oz to get most of the references. But once you have, and those are very popular movies, so you probably have, you'll be able to get through all of it. And then once it has dissected different character archetypes and gone through the entire structure of storytelling, it does lay out some very useful graphs, such as right there, the journey from ordinary world to special world and then back to ordinary world, kind of making it a circle, which is good for serialized content, like if you're doing an issue every week. But if you want to do an entire graphic novel, then still using the 3-act structure is a very good layout. Now, I know some people, they want to go their own way, subvert expectations, but in order to do that, you must first know what the expectations are of you and of your story, so that you can then subvert them. It's a very good way to tell a story, but first you need to know what you're doing. So going through the writer's journey would even be helpful for you, and I'd say even more so than for someone who just wants to tell the basic story, because they could luck into that just trying to do what they've seen before. But trying to do something you haven't seen before, you might just end up doing a worse version of the writer's journey. Now, this book can be a slow read at some points because it definitely reads like it was intended for a classroom setting. Even at the end of every chapter, it has a little question section. With this one has 6 different questions. For example, do different cultures need different kinds of stories? Do men and women need different kinds of stories? How are the heroic journeys of men and women different? So that's just kind of example. You can answer that for yourself if you like. But overall, that part's not necessary. And clearly, this is kind of like a textbook type thing. So it reads a lot different than a book where you just want to get the facts, such as when you're reading a book about specifically writing for comic books, a book about script writing and screenwriting. They expect people to take a class in which their book will hopefully be a necessary read. And this one is definitely on that list for necessary reads for screenwriters. Comic book writers, I would say necessary to read, but not necessary to own. You don't need this up on your shelf the entire time. I would say go through the book, take notes in your handy dandy notebook. I don't actually like My Hero Academia, by the way. I do like My Hero Academia Vigilante, which I believe is by the same guy, but I think it's way better. Characters are too hopeful, I think. Anyways, so you write it down in there just for reference, so you can go like, Shadow, what does it say about Shadow? Let me check Shadow. Oh, okay, no, here's a picture of the graph, which is always difficult when there's a graph in a book, because then you have to go, oh no, I'm a writer, not an artist. Okay, circle, that's a terrible circle, whatever, do the markings and all that stuff. So yeah, I just do it like that and then return to the library. This is a very popular book, so that kind of works in your favor, where it'll probably be in a library, or it might be on Libby or Hoopla, which are apps I highly recommend for accessing your library. All you need is a library card, and then learning isn't that hard. Exploring isn't. It was on Arthur, I think, the TV show. So you type in the library card number, and then you're in there, and you can access audiobooks, which are kind of difficult for me to take notes on, or digital books, which you can write down. But I would suggest owning a physical book for most of the books that I recommend, because it'd be better to go through to reference, and even to have up on a shelf behind you so you can look at, ooh, I have nerd points, that kind of thing. Oh, a Funko Pop, because bobbleheads don't say jock, they say nerd now. Oh, fantastic. So yeah, those really big. My brother loves them. I think I got him a Woody one for Christmas. I think he likes it. Haven't heard him complain. Actually, he might have returned it. I should ask him about that. Point being, Threshold Guardians, Shadows, all important archetypes to have in your graphic novel, your comic book, whatever. So this is definitely a recommended read. At least go through it at least once, and I would definitely take notes, because you are going to want that information later on for your book. I mean, if you go through any superhero movie, you're going to find almost verbatim each and every step in the writer's journey, in the hero's journey, Hero with a Thousand Faces, all that stuff. You're going to find it pretty much all from Iron Man to the last one that came out, which Black Widow, but it didn't come out. It hasn't come out yet. It was made. They made it. They probably made 3 more after that, but not Black Widow movies. No, they're like, oh no, we'll never do that again. How dare we? But yeah, so it's a recommend, but a recommend to rent or borrow. It is kind of taxing to go through the whole thing, so if you're not a fast reader, you should probably get the extension. Just go like, I'll just get an extra 2 weeks on this, and then you're out. Digital is fine if you want to buy it digital, even. But yeah, renting is perfectly fine with this book, and that's my recommendation. Now, I'd like to end the video on a high note, however, I can't really sing that well, so instead I'll just end it on some good advice. Wash behind your ears. That's like an old school insult, but really it gets dirty back there, so just make sure, you keep it clean, keep the back of the ears clean. I don't know what goes on back there, but apparently it's bad enough that they really had to warn people about it in the early 60s. So, back of the neck too, they also mentioned that, wash the back of the neck. But yeah, careful you don't have a sunburn though, because that could really hurt.